what happened to acid rain? Growing up, I was terrified of acid rain. I always pictured some chaotic battery acid going through your skin, buildings, everything. It sounded terrifying. I was warned by my grandma, my mom, and I was just told that this is going to be a common problem growing up. And if you're like me and thought this is going to be a common problem, you're not entirely wrong. As a student researcher equipped with the knowledge of precipitation and the documents and records of acid rain throughout the last 30 plus years, I dove deep into the answer behind acid rain and its disappearance. Understanding the fundamentals of acid rain grew a large question for concern over the years. However, with human intervention and change, the problem is not as big as it once was. To begin, what is acid rain and is it dangerous? First of all, is acid rain inherently dangerous? No, it's not. Acid rain is not really bad for people per se. The normal pH of about water is 5, and so acid rain is probably like a 4.5 and below, getting more acidic as it gets lower. And to put in perspective, a Coke is 100 times more acidic than acid rain. But acid rain happens when nitrogen and sulfur dioxide go into the atmosphere and then are converted with water and come down as sulfuric acids and nitric acids. And one might ask, where are these chemicals coming from? Well, it is mostly caused by emissions from human power plants, fossil fuel industries, and essentially coal, which was the main producer of electricity in the 1970s and 80s. And so it was crucial that a solution was found. It was first recognized as a threat in 1980 by the EPA. And so how did the problem get solved? Well, once realizing the problem, scientists stepped in. We had the federal agency, we had the EPA, national laboratories, partners, all formed together and formed the National Acid Precipitation Assessment Program, NAPAP, with increased funding to investigate rain. NAPAP scientists achieved a greater understanding of acid rain in just a few years. One of the biggest impacts of acid rain was the effects on the surface water, especially in the North Lakes of Canada and northeastern US. An EPA ecologist, Raul Ringgold, developed a new approach to studying ecology. When he was studying, he attempted, instead of attempting the impossible feat of going to every lake, every stream, and taking samples from everywhere to find this acid rain, he instead used his research to specifically strategize specific spots to gather information, cutting down research by half-fold, or cutting down time. That was the main point. Everything was evolving at a fast rate. And this was set later for groundwork for later monitor systems like the EMAP and NARS, which are the critical on health in the current system of the US. EPA scientists played a critical role, and they did now. And how did the government go about solving the emission problem? After decades of research, Congress passed a law requiring all power plants to have a limit on their sulfur dioxide emissions each year, and a cap and trade system was allowed. This system put in place that they had a limit on the emissions, but they could also trade to other people, and this kept their economic fluidity and prices low. Some power plants also added desulfurizing scrubbers to their smokestacks or switched to low sulfur along with natural gas, and found other low-cost technologies to get rid of oxides of nitrogen as well. And to date, the sulfuric acids have dropped down 93%, as we can see across these last 30 years, has made a tremendous recovery. And the rest of the developed world followed suit. We had Canada and Western Europe admit these their own sources of cap and trade with their own systems and their own like emission limits. But places like China right now are seeing the same emission levels as we were seeing in the 1970s. Brandon McNell, a biochemist at West Virginia University, was talking about the impact of the soil deterioration and its long-lasting effects. He said that clearing the air of sulfur dioxide is just the first milestone in a long road to recovery, noting to be said that there's still so much work to be done in the respiration and help of the environment from acid rain. But although there is so much to be done, it is still a huge win for the scientists, as a relatively quick major threat to a minor issue was highly celebrated in the victory for policies protecting the environment. So to conclude, acid rain was rightfully feared and ignored throughout the last few decades. Scientists and advocates accomplished a huge stepping stone in protecting the environment, as well as advancements in research and understanding, all while happening throughout our lifetime. Through trials and tribulations of their research, their legacy was made, and the acid rain cleaning ushered a new chapter for environmental science. Human involvement mending human-caused problems at its finest. Thank you.